always thought people age slowly, but in fact, they age in an instant. The other day, a colleague born in 1999 had a birthday, and she refused to celebrate because she felt too old. I was like, come on. If it weren't for her being good-looking, I would have beaten her up long ago. When we discussed when we feel old, the conversation went on for an hour. There were so many resonating points. In the past, we could call our idols Big Brother, but now we can only call them nephew. We have to take a break halfway up the stairs, and it's only the third floor. In winter, we can't wait to wear all our clothes and stop showing off. During class reunions, we don't talk about who we like anymore, but about how much money we make in a month, how our kids are doing, or whether we have fatty liver. We're being called aunt or uncle more and more by little brats. Seeing the layers of fat on our bodies in the mirror, we angrily think, I used to be thin. We scream at the mirror, not because of acne, but because damn, there's another wrinkle. When video chatting with our parents, we see more and more of their white hair. We used to be able to stay up for 48 hours straight, but now, pulling an all-nighter leaves us feeling like crap for at least a week. Our memory is clearly declining. We used to cram the night before an exam and could memorize half a book in one night, but now we can't even remember a phone number. When talking, if someone interrupts us, we forget what we were going to say. We often find ourselves standing somewhere, unable to remember what we were about to do. We only play the same one or two mobile games. We always eat at the same few restaurants and order the same dishes. We can't be bothered to accept new things. We've become afraid of death. We've started taking vitamin pills. We've started to like brand names, using them to compensate for lost youth. We've become increasingly concerned with material comfort, can't bear hardship anymore, and the thought of backpacking makes us want to die. We forget our age and don't want to remember it, so we genuinely hate it when people ask how old we are. And when people inappropriately remind us of our age, we just want to say, I don't care, and get lost. When filling out age information online, it takes a long time to find our birth year in the drop-down menu. The novels we read in the past have all been turned into TV dramas. We don't even know the names of the songs on the Apple Music charts, let alone the singers. When we meet a 12-year-old, and they say they feel young every time they see a 4 or 5-year-old playing with sand on the beach. Haruki Murakami once said, I always thought people age slowly, but in fact, they age in an instant. Is it terrifying to grow old? As an old auntie, I want to tell you by example that growing old is not scary. Growing old is great because only when you're old can you shamelessly do as you please. Everyone says I have thick skin. I have to say, it's all built up over time. When I was young, I had a sense of shame. If I was scolded by my boss, I'd cry for 2 hours. If a salesperson looked down on me, I'd feel sad for half a day. If I didn't handle an argument well, I'd go home feeling depressed and unable to sleep. But as I've grown older, I care less and less about my own shortcomings and how others see me. I accept that I'm a fool. Once you accept that you're a fool, you'll find that the world is vast and full of possibilities. As for how others see you, who cares? Love who you love. If they don't like it, they can deal with it. When people say, you're this old and you still don't care about your image, I reply, I'm this old, why should I care about my image? I sincerely believe in the saying, if everyone understands and knows you, how mediocre must you be? Didn't I say something self-deprecating before? In the sea of humanity, the person I hate the most is myself. Growing old is great because only when you're old can you love yourself shamelessly. As Oscar Wilde said, loving oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. When I was young, I was quite insecure because I wasn't good-looking and didn't have any outstanding qualities to boast about. But now, things are different. I'm still not good-looking, and I still don't have any outstanding qualities, but what's my biggest asset? It's the fact that I've spent over a decade reading and writing diligently. I always maintain a curiosity for knowledge about the world. I see many people who become old when they're still very young. Old isn't just the decline of physical functions but more about the lack of mental progress, the beginning of withdrawal into the monotonous routine of day-to-day life, no longer curious about new things, no longer having dreams, and no longer willing to explore various possibilities within themselves. I want to try. I want to explore possibilities. This state gives me great security. Honestly, it's only after I've grown old that I've truly come to understand and love myself. I love the me who loves reading. I love the effort I put in. I love the stubborn me. I even love the ostentatious me. When I was young, I was cautious and very humble. Because adults said that humility leads to progress. Only after growing old did I realize a profound truth: people who are ostentatious progress faster than those who are humble. Because of the ostentation, there is vanity, ambition, and drive. Because of the ostentation, we must always maintain a progressive state and prove ourselves. Because of the ostentation, we must keep being awesome to avoid being laughed at. Growing old is great because only when you're old can you be more willful. Someone on Reddit said something that resonated with me. After growing old, we rarely think about right or wrong, and instead focus more on want or not want. Yes, precisely because we're old, time is short, and we're reluctant to waste it on people and things we dislike. Things we used to be embarrassed to refuse, we now reject decisively if we don't want to do them. Things we used to envy others for having, but don't need ourselves, we promptly give up. Things we used to be afraid to try, but want to do, we now do without hesitation. I hate it when people say, "Why are you like this?" Have you ever considered your age? Why should we limit ourselves in life? Why should we compromise with rules just because we're old? If maturity means being obedient and following the rules, then I want to be shameless and forever stay in adolescence. So when I do things, I never think about my damn age, I only think about whether I like it or not. Who says we have to be stable when we're old and can't make mistakes? We can spend our lives by trial and error. I make mistakes and embarrass myself every day, and daring to make mistakes and be embarrassed is pretty cool, right? Who says that when we're old, we have to love the beauty of the soul unlike ugly people? Kafka said that anyone who maintains a love of beauty will never grow old. Who says when we're old, we have to be stable and can't be starstruck? Even at 80, I'll still have a girlish heart. I want to live a life that transcends age. When you transcend age, age has no power over you. So, I want to wish each and every one of you, always stay young, always be infatuated, always be shameless, and always be teary-eyed.